area of specialization because we did advertise that we will have Professor Donna P.
Virgin, that's still our thunder.
I
Like,
am
where's
a
that
man.
Corina fall?
Not only our thunder, like you want to see that lightning. Professor Donna P.
Hi everyone, yes, hi, and of course, welcome.
Warm South Florida, welcome.
No, I'm saying I'm welcoming all of my people who are joining as well, and thanking everyone for coming to share with us. And I missed a little bit of your preamble because I was trying to get some water, but it sounds like you're trying. You and Garth, Richard, are trying to
Upstage you.
no, that upstage to do a lot of things like fill a lot of gaps, and sort of spark a lot of conversation around our music product, our Jamaican music product, the one that many people seem to love and want to be a part of in different ways. And of course, we do have a responsibility as Jamaicans, if wherever we are at home and in the diaspora, to also ensure that our voices are
heard
in the midst of these conversations in a very strong way. And I was at the reggae conference yesterday on campus and was having conversations with Jamaicans, one living in British Guyana, studying, working and researching, and another who has lived in London for a very long time, talking about the same thing, about the way that we must, as Jamaicans, also make sure that our voices are heard, writing books and doing other things in the conversations around who we are, because this is about our identities. It's not just about, something that, we listen to arbitrarily. It's about Jamaican identity.
And you're spot on with that. One of the things that I've always maintained is that as Jamaicans, we have a responsibility to ourselves as far as it relates to taking ownership of whatever we do. In fact, it is one of the beautiful observations that I made by the One Love movie that this week. Last week, around the world, to watch we do we want to take, right? The Marley family basically at the forefront of getting this production out there. I'm listening to people like Lasana Lynch, who played the role of Rita, and oh my God, but we don't want to get into discussing the film.
And I must declare, I have not yet watched the movie.
So I'm not going to prejudice you.
I've spoken and heard the conversation. I've had conversations about it, but I'm declaring that I have not watched the movie. So Lasana Lynch is the daughter of a Jamaican who went to St. Jago High School. Her mom is a Jamaican. So she's a Jamaican.
It's a family thing. Family.
So we have to understand that there are many Jamaicans and people of Jamaican descent in the movie, but I try not to get too caught up in the conversation around the movie because I'm trying to keep my head clear so that when I go to the movie itself, I am making my own, judgment, having my own discussion in my mind about it. So when I post or write something, this is not as caught up because there's a lot of conversation that has been going on around the movie.
But she made a point, Prof.
Yes.
That when somebody in an interview with her asked about her own feedback about her perspective she looked at the movie from, and she said this is a tremendous boost, a big start for Jamaica as a from a film production standpoint, and you can only grow from here. I mean, the last really big movie. We've done several productions coming on. Jamaica has played host as a filming venue for a number of international. But, in terms of the existence of local talent, we spoke extensively and eloquently on that. And, just the whole vibe of being in Jamaica, which is something. But, as you say, you have not seen the film. Don't want to prejudice you.
Deliberately so.
I know.
I'm probably going to see it next week or the week. I'm waiting because I want there's a lot of hype and excitement around going to see the movie. So I want to go with a clear head and less crowd.
Let me do this first. Kick the ball off, right? Listen, I'm not gonna attempt to run through your entire bio. I just want to give the listeners,
I
the
gave you the
viewers.
short version. You
Yes.
actually have the very short version of my
This is the
advice.
short version. Oh my goodness. Now, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you're just joining, we have with us in studio, beaming all the way from coming out of Kingston, Jamaica, Professor Donna P. Hope, and Professor of Culture, Gender, and Society at the University of the West Indies. Her work engages with Afro-Jamaican Caribbean cultures of identity making as they intersect with core domains, including class, gender, race. As a whole, has published extensively in the areas of popular culture, gender, music, identity, creative industry, authoring and editing 6 academic books, one self-published motivational book, and many articles in journals and newspapers. And dancehall, erotic subversion, erotic, edited with Anna Moy, published in August of 2020. It tells you just how, how not only how prolific, but how current her her thoughts are in terms of engaging and exchanging with the the public in general, right? So we, as I said, not going to try to dive in too much. This is our guest today, Professor Hope. Again, officially welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon, and buen dia, buenas tardes to people, all the persons who are logging on from different locations, whether at home in Jamaica or in the diaspora somewhere, wherever you're located. Just thank you for joining us today, and of course, big up to your co-host Garth and the team who's working behind the scenes. So, yes.
We are going to attempt, this is our Yard Media's contribution to the Reggae Month, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, this of the 14th or 15th year. It's our 14th year of observing Reggae Month, not only in Jamaica but around the world. And I think it is an opportune time to take a look at some areas. Reggae music and dancehall music have been buffeted all over the place. Everybody have all kind of unlearned views, but they have a microphone and a podium and them out there and putting a lot of stuff out. On a local scene, there has been a lot of pummeling as well of dancehall. I know you, Donna, because one of the things that drew you to my attention is the work that you did on dancehall. And so we have a number of issues. I don't want to go in a straight list where we're shooting questions, but just to kick the thing off, what I want, what led you to specialize in the study of reggae and dancehall culture?
And quite a few people have been asking me these questions. So I'm planning a workshop for my European audience with the Dancehall Archive, because these are people who are very interested in working and researching, our culture. But the thing is, I started because I'm a child of Jamaica, and I grew up listening to dancehall music, King Yellowman, and these things on the way to schools. And when I came to the university to do I did a Bachelor's of Arts and a Master's of Philosophy and Political Science at the Mona campus. And while I was doing my research for my Master's of Philosophy in particular around dancehall culture, I couldn't find any written works. You see, there was nothing written about dancehall much. Professor Cooper had written the chapter in Her Noises in the Blood, and that was it. There were no books available on dancehall, and I was concerned. So I spent a lot of hours at the Gleaner Company Limited. That time we used to go to the archives and go use a microfiche and spin out and look at the articles and pick out what you wanted from the Gleaner and the Star, because there was nothing written. People were apparently unwilling to write about dancehall because it was something it was bad, and apparently it's going to evaporate. So one of the things that I decided was that I wanted to be able to have documentation about Jamaican music from the perspective of a Jamaican who is researching and writing about the culture, not just to go to conferences and seminars and on programs and talk about it. Because what happens if we are not documenting and writing our culture, someone else is going to do it for us. And so the first time I went to Rotterdam Sunsplash, I remember, and it's after I started writing books. In 2009, I went to Italy. They were in Osaka, Udine in Italy. And I went into a room, they had a ganja, they had a whole tent about ganja. And I've never seen so many books written about ganja in my whole life. In Italian and all kind of books. And I searched through these books for something written by Jamaicans. Because Jamaicans are this is supposed to be a mecca about ganja and all of that.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a single book. I came back home again, because by that time I had published the Dancehall, my first book. And then I was working towards, and I finished my PhD and was working towards my second book. And I was seriously resolved for myself to do my part as a researcher, an academic, and a writer, to build out a body of work, because there's a lot of talking that goes on, especially around Reggae Month, a lot of talking. But I remember the mantra I learned as a child. Each person has in their lifetime at least one book they can publish. And I look at a lot of these conversations, and you're sitting on panels and everybody's trying to run jostles to talk. There is nothing written. And so when my students need material, and when non-Jamaicans need material, which material do they find? Bob Marley is the most written about subject in Jamaican popular music, bar none.
Right.
98% of the books written about Bob Marley are written by non-Jamaicans, non-Caribbeans, non-Black people. That's how it works. I have reviewed quite a few manuscripts. And I find this is something that has continued to concern me even while I've been churning out my books, and I'll keep on churning them out, because this is something that I resolved at the beginning of my career when I was still a graduate student, that I would be writing profusely so that students, researchers, people who are interested, and others would have some material that is research material, documented material that is available to them in a book format. And people, the book is not going to die. We're going to have books until the earth ends. Kindle did not overpower the book. We're going to still have books. People need books to get material from.
Absolutely. When we started this program, Garth and myself, our team here at NAD, the objective was to address a lot of misconceptions. First of all, I moved to America in 2008. Thereabouts.
I was there in 99.
Right. God come here earlier with the first boat with Christopher Columbus. But be that as it may.
It was Ponce de Leon.
A little longer, yes, longer than
It was
yeah.
Ponce de Leon.
Yeah. So, but I would venture out, because coming out from yard, going out, go listen to some music is almost an everyday thing. Not so here. And so I am going out there trying to, give a letter ear to what these DJ. Everybody play the same music, with the exception of him. And a couple of times I buck him up, and one day I said to him, listen, I am watching what's going on, and there's so much misinformation, so much lack of education here. And we talked about getting this program. And he said, so why me? I said, why not you? I say it in front of him and behind him. His repertoire, his playlist is extensive, eclectic, everything that I like. And when he got into the Jamaica music, he was playing the music when nobody else was coming. And then his own knowledge of the music was way, way off the chain relative to some of them. And so here we are. I figured
I am in our fifth year.
Yeah.
We're in our fifth year.
We're in our fifth year. And, we look, I have a sizable library of works on Jamaican music, just like you said, 99.9% is written by foreigners. And Prof, let
me say what you're not saying. And a lot of them, not to offend any of my friends, colleagues, and people I work with, have broken bread, but they are white foreigners. Yeah. A lot of them are white foreigners, and it seems also one of the things I also find is that, especially when you want to do a certain type of research, in-depth interviews, you want to get some material. Sometimes a lot of our Jamaican artists and all that, this is the older ones, respond better to foreigners than they do to them. Yes, and worse, I'm female, but I'm very persistent. But it's a lot of work to get sometimes interviews with our artists because they have been socialized over these years to expect that when white foreigners come and interview them, that somewhere it will be much more beneficial. There's a way that it seems to come across as maybe much more beneficial. I don't know, I know that researchers on the ground will complain that they it's a challenge for them to get access in many times to the artists from the earlier eras in particular.
And on both counts, there's also a level of unconscious bias that predicates the approach. Because in one instance, I read somewhere where one of the persons were talking about the birth of Gregory Isaacs. And Gregory Isaacs was born in Fletcher's Land. And then at the time when Gregory Isaacs was born, Fletcher's Land was a mid-class area. But the way he wrote about the repressed area in Kingston, so right away he's twisting his today's view on what transpired 70 years ago.
Exactly.
Yes. But you said it, Prof. As you said, it's better you said than me said, because when you said, if I said that, and then, no, not only that, then at that time I didn't know how to talk to it. But you're right. When we reach out to some of these artists, they are almost, in fact, a couple of these artists basically tell you have to pay them for the interview. Really? Yeah. Really? So this is where we are. And we're actually, this is the 16th year of Reggae Month. And every year, I've been watching this thing since 2008 when it just started. And we do the same very things. In the last couple of years, it has been more centered around the Marley, Bob Marley in particular. But
careful now. You gotta be careful.
Well, I'm just thinking my own personal observation, right? But we have not. What have we accomplished at the end of the month, each month for Reggae Month, that we can say, come next year or in the ensuing years, this is what we would hope to have as structure. And it's a question that I've had, and I'm wondering, maybe out of this discussion, you may be able to amplify, spread that channel a little light.
Well, I have been. I have a poster in my office campus on the door. You open the door and when it's behind the door. So in the office, you look at it, and it's a poster from the first Reggae Month, Reggae Month 2008. We were all involved. I was very heavily involved. From the campus doing stuff in Jamaica Reggae, which was formed as a part of all of this. It was formed for the following Reggae Month, but we were all very involved with Reggae Month. It was the biggest thing, a lot of sponsorship, all kinds of excitement. And the first reggae conference, it was the first reggae conference, which Professor Carlin Cooper, she was the ideator for it, initiated that conference. We worked it was a marvelous time, excitement. Come out, amen, wherever you are, pick up yourself, Lenford, Salmon, the team, we were driven. It was a very exciting time, and I'm thinking about it. And then one of the things that I think has happened with Reggae Month is that, because it was created in a way to remind people, I suppose, of the importance of reggae music. And I was told at the outset that because of the fact that the word reggae, for many people are outside of Jamaica, and outside of an understanding about music, the way that the word reggae becomes a stand-in for Jamaican popular music. So it was supposed to be about all the music. That's the first thing. But Reggae Month has become more about reggae, the genre, older genres. So it also has become about an ageist kind of conversation. So my students are not a part, they're not involved with Reggae Month. We can't get them to pay attention to it. That's one. Because what is being put on, they feel divorced from it. But also that Reggae Month has become, for people like myself, we start praying towards the end of January because there's a lot of stuff going on and you can't manage to do everything because it's a lot of similar type things that go on. People sit and talk. So you have a lot of different seminar type things that seem to have developed, several conferences going on. all kinds of things happen in the 28 or this, luckily we're in a leap year, which again, so it's 29 days and it is rammed with activity. And in the middle of that is we have Dennis Brown's birthday and Bob Marley's birthday. And we have a lot of other birthdays that people kind of forget. Those are the two main ones. And a lot of activity. It's just, and then at the end of February, everything stops.
Which is my point.
Yes.
We go helter-skelter for the 28, 29 days of the month. And then at the end of the month, it's like you hit a wall. Bam. And it stopped. And so I'm trying to figure out, so what is the objective? What are the my thinking is that if we're going to spend so much time and resources on this promotion, there has to be an end game, if you will. There has to be something that says, okay, at the beginning, here's what we hope to accomplish this year and how it should operate going through the rest of the next, the remaining 11 months of this period as we get, but nothing.
Well, I am not involved because I think in the Reggae Month comes through the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, and I know the tourism, the Ministry of Tourism is also involved. So there is a way I get that, it's also a tourist product that people come to Jamaica. Because we do have a lot of foreigners who come to Jamaica for Reggae Month every year, and they want to sample, all the different things that are going on. But that kind of question would have to be answered from those locations, because that I think that kind of, we work with whatever we're asked to work with on the ground for the month. And I try, because we are still on campus, we are teaching, we literally are in a live semester. We have students, we have regular activities, and we have to eat and sleep and all the other things people do. But it's a lot that is crammed into the 28 or 29 days. And the end game is something you'd have to invite maybe Minister Grange or a person from JUREA, the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, or someone else from one of the other entities that has responsibility to sort of tell you what the end game is. But it's very packed, a lot of things crisscrossing across each other. And one of the things that happened this year, I gather that somebody added a dancehall week to Reggae Month. I'm not sure what's happening with that.
We want to talk about that when we come back.
But I don't know anything. Let me put up my hands in the air and declare I am not involved in it. I know nothing about it. I heard about it after the launch because whatever, and I met one of the persons involved in it officially on the 1st of February when I was in studio in that area preparing for the Reggae Open University. Well, it was after for the Reggae Open University event. That
Professor, we're gonna
I know nothing about it. We're going on a break. I know nothing. I'm going to play my song.
Not holding you on to anything. Up on a break. We come right back and we pick it up.
Okay.
And we're back with, and of course, our special guest this afternoon, Professor Donna Hope. And Professor, we're not going to put you on the spot. Absolutely.
No, because I find that people think that I'm involved in some of these things. So usually, as soon as I'm like, I knew nothing about it. So it has nothing to do with me. People are doing, because it's a free place. People can do different things. So people are doing their things.
Just as a reminder that Professor Hope is Professor of Culture, Gender, and Society at the University of the West Indies. And yes, we know you don't have nothing to do with
dancehall the Reggae Month.
No, they have nothing to do with Reggae Month.
I'm talking about dancehall week. No, not that. I was talking about dancehall. Reggae Month. I do stuff with Reggae Month when I'm called. Some things are that we do work behind the scenes, and I do some of it. Sometimes I'm on panels or working on committees, but I'm not involved in the planning of Reggae Month.
The thing that really has my attention though is watching the university embracing this aspect of the nation's culture. We've come a long way. I attended UWI a long time, right? And so it's very refreshing to see the steps that have been made and the fact that we yourself as a professor in this very, very significant area, and God, you understand where I am, and I think, Professor, that you share the same sentiment.
But Huey has always been the hallmark of progress and change. Case in point, 1970s, WPJ, started right there. Youth protest with that guy from Rodney.
Walter Rodney.
Walter Rodney, yes. So the University of the West Indies has that reputation that, for change and engaging the youth where that is concerned. I was very concerned a while ago when she said that youth feel divorced from reggae music. And I see that too in the parties when you try to play, older music. Even people my age group are so cotton now to new music that it's almost like nobody has a patience for the older stuff. But it all again as a DJ depends on placement when you play these songs and everything. But we need to find a way to get the youth involved, or not even just to get them involved, to make them feel that they matter. And I think that's where the crux of it is.
I wanna add to that, and Professor,
I'm seeing comments coming up, but
yes, read. We need to just pull back that comment that came up just now, and while they're doing that, Tarsia Moore says, I agree that it was stated without context. I was referring to Lashana Lynch's proximity to Jamaica, given that her grandparents are Jamaican. I too am born in the UK, but consider myself British.
He was responding to someone else. Yes.
I think, she was responding to something. So, but to come back to the issue here, I remember some time ago talking with Dr. Dennis Howard, who stated that there was some discussion or some class he was conducting or the other, where a lot of the students have no idea who Dennis Brown is, and a couple of other, the names of a couple of other, and these are youngsters, they're
early 20s.
Yeah.
They're all born after 2000 and after.
And so, and I guess those kind of observations has helped to cement the necessity for this cultural studies at the university. I mean, this is a center of learning in the country, in the Caribbean, for that matter. And so, if music is such an integral part of our Caribbean experience, we definitely should be able to bring academia into providing that foundation, if you will. And I particularly love the role you are playing, Prof, in terms of putting your own thoughts in writing, to document from your own perspective, to conduct research. For example, dancehall originated back in the 50s when the dancehall was a space. Today, the dancehall is now a genre, in as much as it is still a space per se. And I know you can speak even more. So that, in fact, I will invite you to speak that.
So let me. Oh, Garth, you're saying something? I'm sorry.
I did curate some music for you, and in the words of one of the dancehall lyricists that come out of the late 90s, early 2000s, when it started making its mark, Vybz Kartel in his song Dancehall. I want to listen to what dancehall represents in his own words.
Hi there. If you enjoyed that clip, go on over to our website at yardmedia.com, where you can watch the entire broadcast at your leisure. And while you're there, why don't you check out our other reggae music features? And before you leave, pick up some of our Jamaican reggae merchandise, and hey, don't forget to tell your friends.